horror fans, and welcome to another episode of Silver Screams. Tonight we are talking about Season 3, Episode 3 of MTV's Scream.
It got wild.
It got real wild.
Holy crap.
Audrey almost killed a guy. Another one.
Almost killed a guy we liked.
A guy she liked.
A friend.
She was, I mean, first of all, she's such an interesting character because she goes through so many emotional beats in this episode, from being horrified at what this person has done to Jake, but also feeling the need for self-preservation and to protect herself.
And then taking the little pins. See how I clean up your messes, or finish the job, or whatever the phrase was?
See how I've finished the job.
Finish the job
you started, or something along those lines.
Finish the job for you?
Yeah,
Audrey?
finish the job for you, Audrey. So she takes off the little pins, and then, with Emma and her dad, basically gives it to her straight up, like, your dad's not a good guy, while also being suspicious of him being the one who's essentially blackmailing her right now.
Yeah, asking, wait, when did he get back in town? Well, the timing is weird, and Emma not knowing any of this other stuff that's going on. What do you mean the timing's weird? I think that's my favorite aspect of this season, is that the only one at the moment who knows that Jake is for sure dead is Audrey. And she hasn't told anyone because she can't. That's not something you can really come clean about.
So that puts her in a very interesting position in terms of when, like, Brooke is talking about Jake, and when Noah is getting ready to open up the storage unit where she knows his dead body is in, and then having to, like, being this close to actually attacking him and or just, like with a bookend. She was this close to killing a character we really, really like.
With a dragon-shaped bookend.
Be careful with that.
Well, they only survived to the second installment anyway, so. The Randys of the world.
Well, and they're both Randy. They are both Randy. It's so interesting. But yeah, which I just now realize is technically a double entendre. So
They're both Randy.
I'm just gonna back on over that one. Anyway, it's so interesting. So she feels this need for self-preservation, and she's willing to go through great lengths to protect her secret, but then when she sees Emma in danger, is also willing to put herself at risk by calling the cops, which is the one thing she really doesn't want to do.
And the thing is, for a lot of places, the cops can backtrack a cell phone call. That's actually how they're supposed to be able to locate people who call.
In case, I don't know, if someone's being attacked by someone and the person hangs up on 911, that sort of thing.
No, I may have mixed it up with landlines. It's been a long day.
It has been. Point being,
either which way, it's kind of hard to stay anonymous on 911.
But that being said, she is willing to put her own safety at risk to try to save Emma, even though we see her come close to murdering her best friend in order to keep her secret safe. And it's such an interesting character
Priorities.
thing.
It's the ranking of the Lakewood Six.
Yeah.
Emma's at the top.
And and it's so interesting too, because if you don't know what's going on with her, the things she's saying are very true. Like, Emma, not everything is about you. Big shock. It's a mean way to put it, but we do all get wrapped up in our own drama. We forget that we're not necessarily the protagonist. We're the protagonist in our own lives, but we're not necessarily the protagonist.
Protagonist.
I'll get you, protagonist. I'll get you yet.
Man, I miss that drinking game. Take a shot every time we say shonen protagonist. It's been a while.
This isn't the type of show with a shonen protagonist.
This is not the type of show with a shonen protagonist. Thank goodness. If we had one of those, they would be extremely wrong genre savvy, and I would be super amused.
So bizarre.
I would be so amused by all of it.
It would be very bizarre to have a shonen protagonist in this show for numerous reasons.
That's a very different. That's a whole other thing, though.
It really is. But
yeah.
Sorry.
Good.
But speaking of, like, genres in particular movies, One thing that I'm thinking that they're really going to draw from a lot this season is Psycho, Nightmare, which I think will be later on down the line, and I think more of I Know What You Did Last Summer, because we've got Brooke. Well, we've got the car for one, and we've also got Brooke participating in what looks to be a beauty pageant, which if
with
anybody,
the girl who's tutoring Emma.
Yeah, and you know, for anybody who remembers I Know What You Did Last Summer, Sarah Michelle Gellar's character was
A beauty queen.
Speaking of Brooke, oh my God, this poor girl. I never would have anticipated at the beginning of this show.
Giving a damn.
Yeah, that I give a damn about her as much as I do. But like seeing her heartbreak over being ghosted and seeing her trepidation at the new creepy guy in her life, Gustavo or whatever his name is, and the creepy teacher coming back into her life, going, I miss you, I sent you roses, why won't you accept my apology? I'm gonna touch your hair now.
I'm putting kindness coins in, why isn't sex coming out?
Also, way to leave me out there. Like, is that why you left me out there when people started dying? It's like, dude, you have not earned anyone's respect or trust. You have not earned it.
You have a history of shacking up with students who then go missing or die. Yeah, that's why she left you out there when people were dying. You have a history.
Yeah, you could very well be a completely different type of serial murderer. To be fair, like, again, that would be a really funny thing if, like, there's a completely separate horror movie going on within the Scream framework here, and we've just not really focused on it because our focus is on Emma and Daisy.
I would love a horror comedy where there are 2 or 3 different horror movies happening at the same time. Like, one person is in the middle of a Scream scenario and one person is in the middle of a Nightmare on Elm Street scenario.
Quiet, Katie. We can't let that screenplay idea get out. We're gonna have to edit this.
We're gonna edit this out, aren't we?
We're gonna have to edit this because I want to make that movie. I want to make the crap out of that movie.
Anyway,
so we're back. So Brooke, it's so heartbreaking, and whoever has Jake's phone is still texting her, and it's not, you know, it's up for debate whether it's Gustavo who will steal a kiss from her to prove a point. And just
admittedly, she did do the he's my new boyfriend whole thing, which, and this is also really sad. Like, men will not recognize a woman's autonomy unless she belongs to another man.
Her telling him to buzz off isn't enough. Like, another guy who is being just if not worse of a creeper
Different
than he
flavor,
is,
still bad.
has to go, is this guy bothering you?
And then
Mac on her face is like, ugh, there's so much toxic masculinity going back and forth in this scene. Like,
someone get me an air purifier.
Everybody else is like, we have to go now.
It's like, we're not even going to go into the same movie theater as you, which is sad because it was Killer Clowns from Outer Space, man.
Speaking of Zoe, the new girl, Brooke is so adorable trying to play matchmaker with her and Noah.
She's bad at it.
She's really bad at it. And also, Zoe's also really bad at, like, giving away spoilers for public domain books that lots of people should have read by now. But they're in high school, so it's okay.
Well, and it's also, did you do the assigned reading and didn't wait for an answer? And it's of mice and men.
But, it's when you're around your crush and it's just word vomit. It's just word vomit. And she's like, oh, spoilers! Also, Jon Snow dies!
I feel like it's one of those things where it's partially crush and partially Senpai is noticing me because she's a big fan of his podcast.
Yeah, so
and we've both had those moments of Senpai noticed me. Oh God.
Senpai noticed me.
I met Markiplier once and I just completely lost my goddamn mind for about 5 minutes. It was kind of amazing.
I definitely have a Senpai notice me anytime we get a guest on for AfterBuzz and things like that.
You handle it very well. I couldn't speak.
I internalize it a lot. I'm like, on the outside, I'm like, I'm being a very professional person interviewing you and things like that. On the inside, I'm like,
well, yeah, no, like, for the most part, the both of us were good. Just, like, this is the one exception. Like, everyone gets one. Everyone gets at least one. Where you meet the person and you're just like, oh God, there's nothing here.
The rain.
And
gone.
for me, that was Markiplier. That was 5 minutes of my life that was just like, I wish I had a do-over because I'm an idiot. I think that's the pizza.
Pause.
Pizza's here.
Woo! You guys can't tell, but it smells like pizza. It's just fantastic.
So we're back.
We never left. But so we were talking about Brooke and about creepy things, creepy guy, and oh yeah, we should also probably mention creepy cousin guy also still being creepy.
God. Well, I thought it would. Why didn't you just say hello? Well, I thought it would be more interesting than, hi, I'm this person. Hi, I'm this person. Like, no, honey, you're a sociopath. Like, you have problems. And Kieran just straight up goes, yeah, he's crazy.
I actually really like when he and Kieran are on screen together because it does seem like that you're embarrassing me, like, member of the family. And I like that dynamic, and I like that Kieran can be like, knock it off.
Isn't it your first day of school? Don't you need to sign up for everything? Well, I don't know where anything is. Like, when I went to high school, when we got our planners for the year, they had a map printed on the back. Or in the first page.
You know he's
or
just
you could
using that
ask
as
for
an
a map from the
excuse.
office.
You know he's just being a dick about it.
Oh yeah, but that's also the point where you haul him to the main office and say, he needs a map, and then you leave.
I believe that's what she decided to do. She's like, I'm just gonna take, or that's what Kieran told her to do. Just take him to the office. You don't have to show him around. Make him someone else's problem.
Yeah,
he's being weird. Although, since we're talking about Gustavo being weird, I don't think his dad is the upstanding officer that we have taken him to be. Because a big component of this episode, which I was giving so much credit to Daisy in the last episode, or Margaret, whatever you want to call her, in the last episode, for deciding that she's just going to come clean with Emma, that withholding the information last episode was just, it slipped her mind.
And then lo and freaking behold, we're going to keep this information from Emma for her own safety. We don't want to scare her. Admittedly, Daisy was trying very hard to be the one to say, no, we need to tell her, no, we need to, and then everyone else kind of went,
They ganged up on her because they're dude bros together. They went to high school together and conceivably got into trouble together.
And we found out that Dad was at one point abusive.
Yeah. He beat her one time because he tried to drive drunk with Emma.
And she wouldn't let him.
She wouldn't let him, and he beat her. What is wrong with you, Tom Everett Scott?
Yeah.
We like you, Tom Everett Scott. Don't do that.
As an actor.
And yeah, and
I worry about your character choices sometimes.
I worry about
you either die young or you live long enough to
see yourself become the villain.
You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Well, we've seen die a hero in different roles, so I guess this is the villain half of things.
But it makes me see the sheriff in a completely different perspective because we still don't know everything that went down back in the day with Brandon James. And I was trying to remember. I was like, it's been a while. I was like, did he actually kill people, or
I think they said that
was that something that was established, or was he the scapegoat?
I think it was something that was established. I think if I'm remembering this correctly,
please correct us if we're
throw
wrong.
it in the comments if we're wrong, or fill in details or all that fun stuff, because it has been a while. If I remember correctly, Brandon and Daisy were kind of a thing, and
they were a
she
thing.
got pregnant, etc. And Daisy's boyfriend and presumably his posse lost their shit all over Brandon, and because of that, he snapped and went on a killing spree at their prom. That's my recollection of events.
That's the narrative that we're given. Looking at these two and looking at them potentially being members of the same posse who then skip town a little later on down the road, it makes me
think that they killed some of the people at prom and then pinned it on him.
I kind of do. Why, I kind of do. I mean, we saw from that flashback sequence last season that whoever the perpetrator was, they were wearing a mask and a coat. If somebody just snapped, they wouldn't necessarily feel the need to do that. I mean, maybe they would. I don't know. I'm not a psychopath. I've never
Or a psychologist.
Or a psychologist. But, like, if you're trying to frame somebody, a disguise is necessary. I'm just saying. Again, maybe I'm just misremembering things because I've only seen the first season once, and that was a while ago.
Yeah.
So maybe
throw it in the comments, you guys.
Please let me know.
If we're in the wrong forest, let alone barking up the wrong tree.
Because
tell us.
I do want to climb up this tree if I'm right.
And what? Build a house and put a little lookout.
I want a tree house. Is that wrong? I like trees. I like tree houses.
We have an apartment.
I know, but I want a tree house.
We have an apartment.
I want a tree house. Now that you've said it, that's all that I want. Anyway, so or even if they're not like shady together, it does make me raise an eyebrow at a sheriff who prior to this I thought was the only upstanding guy in this town. So that's different. I don't know how long it's going to take for Brooke to realize that Jake is dead.
If whoever has the phone keeps messing with her, it could be a long ass time because that text is what prevented her from filing a missing persons report.
And she's like, okay, we're done. And he's like, hasta la vista. She's like, is that a clue? Are you in Mexico? And if they think he's in Mexico, they're not going to know he's dead until the body turns up.
It was, are you in Mexico with your parents?
Yep.
And Audrey's the only one that knows, and she's not saying anything because implications.
She's not saying anything. Which,
and that body's gone by the time that she and Noah show up again. And there's a dummy camera, and there's just all sorts of shit.
Speaking of dead people, I really liked the scene with the. I felt bad for the guy, but I actually really did like his death scene. The hotel guy. It was very well done because he walks into the room and everything's covered, and into Emma's dad's room.
Yeah.
And I think it's safe to say that whoever is perpetrating these crimes right now, if Emma's dad is involved with what's going on, he wasn't the one that was in the room right there because he would have to be able to teleport to be able to get from his room to outside where that stuff
horrifyingly drunk.
And be horrifyingly drunk. He would have to be able to teleport, which the guy from Scream 3 could do that. But yeah, so if he's doing that, he wasn't the one physically in the room. So I think that's an important thing to note. And I also don't think he'd be FaceTiming with Audrey about his daughter.
No.
It just seems like a weird thing.
The poor front desk dude got completely murderized.
With a corkscrew. Which, the second he's like, I've got a corkscrew, I'm like, that's going to be in your head, like, very soon. Not his head, in his throat, but still.
The liquor store delivers to a hotel. That's what I got from that.
I think he just called the front desk. I think he just called for room service.
Well, no, when he was coming up, he said, there's a delivery.
There's a delivery. Which, if anybody decides to open up a liquor store that delivers, call it a delivery because that's adorable.
There's a delivery from you from the liquor store. I found a corkscrew. Like, that's what he said when he was going up into the room. So, and there's a liquor store that delivers.
Well, cool. And that might have just, it sounds like whoever, and that's the thing is whoever is playing Ghostface, they clearly have a really great use of technology because they can call on, Kevin's behalf. I think his name is Kevin. That's Emma's dad, Tom Everett Scott's character. I want to say his name is Kevin. Anyway.
And send emails from a dead girl's account, which is pretty messed up.
That's his story for being there, is that Riley reached out to him and was basically saying, Emma needs you right now. I don't think he's innocent. I definitely think there's more to what happened to Brandon James than they've let on. Yeah. But I think he is an innocent in terms of what's happening right now. Yeah. I think that whoever invited him here, whoever's donning the ghost-faced whatever, wants to get justice on all of Emma's family or... in addition to Audrey. So I definitely think they're like, I'm going to take all y'all out. Which, it could be another member of the Troy family who blames them for everything that happened. I don't know. It could be.
It could be many a thing.
Like I said, I'm not ready to discount them yet. There are so many moving pieces, it's hard to say which ones are outweighing the other ones in terms of plausibility.
And poor Emma, a message was left for her, presumably from her dad at her place of work. And that's just, tell him we're not an answering service, and that tells me that it could have been the ghost face voice leaving the message, or that there is a man that was being used at some point, because there was no question that it was from dad. And doing this doesn't cut it. You know?
Well,
it's hard. There's voice acting and then there's modulating your voice to be taken as an adult of the opposite gender of you. And not everyone can do that.
well, and who knows, you might have the universal voice translator.
Yeah, or just the ghost face voice. Not everyone recognizes that, so who knows?
Exactly, and her dad has been out of town for so long that not everybody's going to know that voice offhand. Although
Especially not someone that young.
Although I will say, Mr. Branson, when he initially called Brooke, I was like, he sounds like Ghostface over the phone right now.
He does. The whole thing is just like...
Is that intentional? Because for a little bit I was like, oh, he's calling her right now. And it wasn't until like further into the conversation where I'm like, oh no, that's the teacher.
Yeah, there was some interesting audio mixing going on there.
Which I wasn't expecting the teacher to come back into this mix, especially especially when we have the psychiatrist to be the awful staff member this year.
You need at least one.
You need at least one.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of really good stuff. And again, probably the best shot of the episode was when Emma was going towards the bathroom. And just the knife right there. We saw it in the trailer. We saw it in the promo for this week.
Really good.
We saw it here, and it looked just as good as it did the first time. It was really great.
And honestly, it was just saved by domestic violence in Emma's thing. It was a crazy, random happenstance. It was a writer's contrivance that got her out of that room. And crazy, random happenstances do happen in real life. So it's not like, oh, that was really cheap. It was like, dang, she got super freaky.
You lucky, you the protagonist.
Yeah. It'll only give you plot armor for so long in a horror movie, mind you.
Yeah, for sure. And again, just and where we're left off is Audrey having the murder weapon clutched in her hands.
Because Ghostface left. She
look under your seat. And you get a murder weapon, and you get a murder weapon.
And the cops wound up breaking up the bar fight. And she's like, oh, I called the cops. I didn't know it was your dad, and I just saw it getting really serious, and I wanted to, make sure. Because she just wanted to make sure that Emma was okay. And Emma saw people fighting in their hotel room and left the one she was in to go, take a look.
I really, really loved Audrey hanging back in the shadows, listening to this conversation go on, because the machinations in her brain, it's this guy is potentially the guy behind all this. He's confronting Emma right now. I want to protect her, but is he going to say something that's going to incriminate himself? So it's this very concerned yet calculated step forward, and she just slowly takes a step into the scene to the point where Emma doesn't even know that she's there until she's literally right behind her. It was very well acted. It was very well paced.
Well, and this also takes Tom Everett Scott out of Audrey's suspect list, because if he's there and he is rollickingly drunk and getting into fights, he can't have been the one to put the corkscrew under her seat.
Yep.
Like that just...
Again, unless teleportation is a thing. But yeah, and we don't know where that guy's body ended up. And not to mention Ghostface, he's moved up from meme to caption pictures to straight up GIFs.
He sent her a GIF. That was really funny to me. Like, does it have the little Giphy logo at the bottom? Someone's looking through the Giphy archives and hits that one and goes...
And it's just a Brandon James watermark on the very corner of the GIF. That would be great.
Yeah, no, I'm really amused by I sent you an animated GIF of your sins.
And I love the way that this killer is addressing her. Hey, partner, I'm doing all the work. You should contribute. Like,
partner.
I love the way they just keep jabbing at her about her guilt in this whole thing.
It's like, I didn't sign up for this.
Clearly not.
And again, we don't know if she killed anyone in the first season. We don't know how deep that partnership
went. We don't know how bloody her
that
hands are.
We just know that there was correspondence.
Yeah, we just the minimum, the very bare minimum that she was involved was correspondence with Piper at the very beginning, and the only time we know for certain she donned the ghost face mask was when Piper was knocked out, when she was, you know, assisting in the kidnapping.
Yeah.
You know, when Piper was knocked out, quote unquote. So yeah, that's the only time we know for sure Audrey was wearing the ghost face mask. We don't know if she straight up murdered anybody, although I suppose we can also take into account that, like, the point where Riley and Brooke were in two different places and Emma had to choose which one. You could also, I would have to go back and watch that episode to see where Audrey was at the time, but conceivably she was also in one of those places, so maybe she killed Riley, we don't know.
But they didn't ever say, like, Ghostface was never, we never saw Ghostface near Brooke in any of it.
We saw a close-up of it, in a jar, like, closet. A closet that was ajar, but yeah, we never actually saw somebody there, but the heavy implication is that someone was there. Otherwise, it would have been a complete idle threat. Either that, or they just knew that she wouldn't say, you know, hurt Brooke. I choose, you know, they just knew that she would choose Brooke over Riley, which I'm hoping Zoe and Noah will work out, assuming both of them live through
Just don't have
season.
sex.
Well, Riley and Noah didn't have sex.
Shoot.
wait,
there's-
I'm a virgin. Oh wait, no, it was
I'm
wait,
gay.
I'm gay. It was worth a shot. Virgins can die now. It's in script form.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which again,
No one's safe.
No one is safe except for probably Emma. Oh, quiet you.
Depends on whether they want a third season.
Which,
downer
again,
ending.
I am absolutely loving the pace and the stakes for this season so far. I don't know how long they can maintain it in terms of overarching plots over multiple seasons.
Because this was just episode 3.
What they're choosing to do in this season is so good. I'm almost like, how do you even top this for a season 3? I don't know if you can. It's
I'm
really
not
good.
sure I want them to try. I would want them to
it's-
pick up wholesale and go somewhere else.
It said the same thing about season 1, and I'm really loving season 2. It's so interesting.
I've been burned so many times before.
That is very true.
I was into Heroes.
Lost. We've been hurt, guys.
A moment of silence for the bullshit that we've put up with for network TV.
All
That's
right.
long enough.
That's long enough. Anyway, I think that just about covers it.
I think so.
For this episode. So yeah, I want to know, what are your guys' theory? Since it looks like Tom Everett Scott is in the clear, who do you think is Ghostface this time around?
Kind of in the clear.
Kind of in the clear. Yeah, that's all I have. I wanted favorite Ghostface moment last time. So yeah, I don't have any new questions for you guys. Do you have anything for them?
Just give us your theories.
We
at
love
this point.
hearing your theories. It's always so much fun. And also thank you to everybody who comments. Scream is one of our highest watched Silver Scream stuff, and it always surprises me how many people are engaged and want to get updates on when we upload and everything like that. So thank you guys.
When do we upload? Whenever we can.
Well, again, we're trying our best. We're trying our best to get caught up. Life is crazy right now, so we're going to do our best. Thank you guys again. Katie, where can people go if they want to find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet.
And Megan, you guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. Be sure to follow Silver Screams on Twitter and Instagram at Silver_Screams. Like us on Facebook, all that jazz. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We will see you all next time.